besting ourselves is a much better motivator than trying to compare ourselves to somebody who is completely different than us and doesn't have our same energy signature. So I believe also that I have achieved my goals much more rapidly because I'm only trying to beat myself.
This is Leah Steele, aka The Wealth Witch, and this is my podcast. I'm here to activate you to remembrance of your divine birthright to be wealthy in all areas of your life. This podcast is for people ready to have controversial conversations about the financial control, manipulation, and tyranny that faces humanity today.
I'm gonna live in freedom. I'm gonna live my destiny. I'm gonna live my freedom. I'm gonna live, the time is right now.
The Wealth Witch. It's for the people who are ready to wake up, deconstruct their wealth programming, and free themselves from the financial slavery consciousness that serves the global financial agenda. I'm committed to realizing a new global wealth paradigm where economic freedom is the reality and where you get to design and live the life of your dreams. Now let's do the damn thing.
Growth and expansion is never comfortable. I have lots of theories around why this is, but I really believe that this is what we've chosen here in this 3D plane. We've chosen to have a reality where we have to experience discomfort in order to experience radical change and transformation. Now, I also believe that we get to choose out of that, but it takes a fair amount of deconstruction of our current programming and conditioning and repatterning that current programming and conditioning and creating new beliefs around that. So we don't have enough time in this program to repattern everybody's beliefs around radical transformation and growth and change and expansion. So we have to work with sort of what we've been given or, the cards that we've already been dealt and the programming and conditioning that is already in place for us. So that being said, we have to push ourselves outside of our comfort zones, and we've got to decide that the thing that we desire, the goal that we're setting for ourselves, is important enough for us to become uncomfortable in the pursuit of it. And this is, the thing that I believe keeps the majority of people from success is that when things get uncomfortable, they quit. For me, my success has come from that I don't compete with anybody else. There isn't anybody else on this planet right now that I'm competing with. I am continually trying to best myself. And as soon as I stopped living in that world with comparisonitis and stopped looking at what Amanda Francis was doing or what Katrina Ruth was doing or what the other leaders in my space were doing, and I started realizing that the only thing that really matters is that I'm continually setting goals and objectives for myself that are currently beyond my reach, which then activate me to move out of my comfort zone and go out and seek something that I don't yet have. And so I began this pattern of continually desiring to best myself. That has worked very well for me. You may feel that you actually are motivated by looking at what other people do, but I have found in all my years of business and in all my years of coaching and guiding people in business that besting ourselves is a much better motivator than trying to compare ourselves to somebody who is completely different than us and doesn't have our same energy signature. So I believe also that I have achieved my goals much more rapidly because I'm only trying to beat myself. When we're comparing ourselves to someone else, so for example, like Jody and I are in a little bit of a similar space, who's in this container. So if Jody was continually comparing herself to me, or I was continually comparing myself to Jody, that would perhaps prevent us from fully tapping into what was in full alignment with ourselves. Because the reality of it is, whether or not we both have long, dark hair, which we do, and we're both in the wealth space, which we are, the reality is that our energy signature is as unique as our thumbprint. We are radically different in every way. And so it doesn't even make sense for me to compare myself to Jody, because even if I copied every single thing she did and tried to recreate it in my business, I couldn't be successful because the energy and the vibration and the frequency is not the same. And it doesn't matter how to the letter I copy it, I can't deliver it the same way that she does, and vice versa. So, I truly believe that, you start to realize that you have success when people start copying you, or where they start to attempt to copy you. And it's, that can be difficult and it can be challenging, but you have to stay in that state of remembrance that it doesn't matter if they take your exact words. It doesn't matter if they take your exact program. They do not have the ability to deliver it like you do, because they do not have the same energy signature as you. Now, does it mean that you don't, protect your intellectual property? Absolutely not. If you go check out my terms and conditions on my website, which I highly recommend that all of you do, and you're welcome to take those terms and conditions and make them your own. Certainly don't just copy them word for word, because there's things that are relative to the parts of the world I do business and that are really relative to my business. But if you're looking for terms and conditions or a payment policy, part of being in a business program with me is that you can literally go take those off my website, make them your own, and use them. And I'm completely fine with that. But those are pretty intense contractual documents. So you want to make sure that you really understand them and you read through them line item by line item. So for me, contracts is a strength of mine from a previous iteration in this lifetime that I've lived. I've done a lot of contract review and waivers and things around intellectual property. So I'm very protected when it comes to my intellectual property. And it doesn't mean that I do not enforce that intellectual property to the letter of the law. If somebody violates it, I do. But at the same time, from an energetic perspective, I have to be fully on board with the fact that it really doesn't matter if people copy me or not, because they're not me and they're never going to be me. So the same is true of competition, right? The same is true of other people in your space. The same is true of somebody who has what you want in business. And so I really want you guys to get those exercises done that I gave yesterday, because we're going to talk about that later this week. And all of this will kind of come together. But those are the reasons why I've found that when I compete with myself, I actually get to my goals faster. It's easier for me to bring myself back into alignment, because I know that the person that I'm trying to beat, I know their energy. It's me, right? And I know the point that I previously got uncomfortable at. I know how to access that point, and I know how to push past that. So what I want to ask you today to do is to create a goal. And you did your name and claim yesterday. And those of you that are new and that are just, popping into the container over the last 24 to 48 hours, please make sure you watch yesterday's content. Please make sure you do your name and claim in the group so that we can see that. And so, some of you put goals in that name and claim, but I want you to get really specific, and I would like you to set a financial goal. So if you're brand new to business and, you're not really putting offers out there right now, that's okay. You can make the financial goal something a little bit lower. And remember that just because we're setting a financial goal in our business doesn't mean that the money comes from our business. One of the things that I really truly believe in is when we set financial goals, we become open and willing to receiving that money from anywhere. If it's our business, great. But for me, one of the things that is very powerful in what I do is that when I set my monthly, weekly, daily financial goals, kind of depending upon where I am in my business and what's going on, those goals are not associated with the work that I do in my business. I keep these things very separate for a reason. One is because I believe that I'm worthy and deserving of having all of the money that I want simply because I desire it. So I'll say that again. I believe I'm worthy and deserving of having all the money that I want, that I need to be properly resourced, simply because I desire it. And I don't believe that I have to make an association between the activities that I do and that amount. So I do not trade time for money any longer. And this is an area where I really want you to start getting on board, that regardless of what it is that you do, that you get out of this habit and belief that you have to trade time for money. So money is just energy. Money is frequency. As a result of that, I get to decide that I desire, let's just say, I'm saying, okay, in the next 2 weeks, I want to make $20,000. Don't get hung up on the number. I literally just pulled that out of the air. Yours might be 1,000. Yours might be 5,000. It might be 10,000. It might be 50,000. I don't know. But you decide the number. Don't overthink this. Check in with yourself. Ask yourself, what's my financial goal in the next 2 weeks? Or by the time this program ends, because maybe it'll go 17 days or so, 18 days, who knows? But my stuff always runs over by about 10%. So you can typically plan on that. But what is the financial goal that you would like to achieve by the end of the program? So I want you to set that goal. And as you're setting that goal, I want you to set an intention that you are open to receiving that money from any source. It absolutely can be from the work that you do in your business, but it could be from somewhere else. So we begin to repattern these beliefs around the money that we earn on a day-to-day basis has to come from the work that we do in the world, or is a result of direct activities that we perform in the work that we do in the world. How this works for me is that I make a commitment every single day to show up purpose-led and in service. And as long as I'm doing my part, that's my part, right? I wake up every day. I ask, how will you have me serve? I show up and do that thing. Sometimes how I need to serve is to take a step back and take care of myself, because that's what I'm being led by the divine that needs to happen in order for me to fully show up powerfully and purposely. But so whatever that thing is, I make a commitment to do that. So I make a commitment to every single day show up in service, show up in purpose, remain dedicated and disciplined and consistent in delivering my purpose work in the world. That's my job. It is not my job to figure out how those activities that I do in my purpose work translate to this amount of money that I desire to have. That's not my job. And once I fully onboarded this idea, things radically changed for me, because all of a sudden the universe was able to deliver me all the gifts that it desired to give me. And because I was getting out of the way. I wasn't sitting there trying to figure out like, oh, okay, I'm launching this Heretic program. How many people do I need to have in there to achieve, my monthly income goal? That's not how I do things anymore. I have a monthly income goal. I show up divinely led. And when I receive inspiration, I take action, and I don't take any action at all until I know the next right action to take. I am dedicated and disciplined in showing up from a place of service and doing my purpose work in the world on a daily basis. I'm also dedicated and disciplined to taking care of myself on an energetic and physical level, so that this vessel and this energy body has the ability to show up and do that kind of work in the world. That's my job, right? It's not my job to figure out how the money translates. And so you're going to hear me say a lot of things in this program, and some of them are going to sound like contradictions. But the thing you need to understand about me is that everything is always and. It is never or. It is always and. So I tell you all of that, right? I don't make these associations, and I still receive numbers from my team every single week on how we're doing in the business. I still look at data. I still look at financial data and numbers. And if we are in a place where we are falling short in monthly recurring revenue, which we'll talk about later in the program, or we're falling short in, what I would like the sales for the business to be that month, then I will go and do some inner work around bringing myself into full alignment with my financial goals. So it's not, okay, what program do I need to launch then to make more money so that I can meet this goal? It's, okay, what do I need to know right now? What do I need to do to show up in my business and in my life to allow the universe to be able to deliver me this amount of money? And sometimes in that journaling, in that reflection, in that meditation, in that conscious parallel realm visitation, which we'll talk about as well later in the program, sometimes in those activities that I'm doing to bring myself back into alignment, I'm given information about an offer that I should launch, or I'm given information about a session that I should launch. And when that happens, I act on that 100%. I do that. I show up in that way. But I'm not sitting in my brain trying to figure out, oh, this program is $333. How many sales do I need to make to get to this amount? That this is my goal. And, no, too much work. And you're getting in the way. You're getting in the way of the universe being able to deliver you what you desire. Does this all make sense? There's a lot of information and some of it contradictory. So I fully understand that. So what I want you to do is I want you to set a financial goal. And in the setting of that financial goal, I want you to release your attachments to it coming from a specific place. And I want you to make a commitment to for the duration of this program, showing up every single day from a place of service to your business. In purpose and from a place of service to your business. That's your job, to continually come back to that commitment. And you set the financial goal and we hold it in our awareness, right? It's not something I want you to obsess over. It's not something I want you to be journaling on every day. I would like you to set the goal. Here's the financial goal. Why are you setting that goal? So goal, why? So what's the reason for that amount? How is that going to benefit you? How is that going to benefit your immediate family? How is it going to benefit your extended family, your friends, your extended community? And ultimately, how will it benefit the world? So one of the things that we know about women in particular is that we manifest so much more easily when we make a global, planetary, tribal, community-based goal. So even if it's, I want to make $5,000 this week because I need to pay my rent or I need to pay my living expenses or whatever it is, right? Really dial down into it, the why of it. And in you doing that, how is that going to benefit the world? Well, I know if I have enough money to cover my, monthly expenses, then I'm not operating stressed. I'm able to show up in my full capacity. And when I'm able to show up in my full capacity, I'm able to deliver the messages that the divine is bringing through for my community. And then that creates ripple out into the world, which creates a global impact. So that's a really brief explanation of how maybe me making $5,000 to cover some of my monthly expenses could benefit the world. But I really want you to break it down. So you're going to set a financial goal for yourself. You're going to journal about and reflect on why that financial goal, how it's going to benefit you. This is really important. It's very important that you don't forget the you part though. How is it going to benefit you? So how is it going to benefit you? How is it going to benefit your immediate family, your extended family, your friends, your community, and ultimately ripple out to create impact in the world? I also would like you to ask yourself, where are you choosing complacency over discomfort? So where in your business and in your life, so it's kind of a two-part exercise, but they go together, okay? So where are you accepting complacency? Where are you settling? Where are you not pushing yourself? Where are you half-assing things in your business versus pushing yourself to the place of discomfort that will lead to radical transformation, that will lead to growth and expansion? So these are the things that you've got to get really honest with yourself and identify where these areas are. What are the things that are on your to-do list that you know that if you just did them would make an impact in your business, but you keep putting them off? You keep putting them on the back burner. You keep prioritizing other things over it, like watching Yellowstone or something. I don't know, but you know what I mean? What are those things? We all have lists of those things. I'm going to do this with you today because I have lists of these things. The things that you're like, I know I need to do this. I know it's going to make a huge impact in my business. And I know it's going to require Maybe me showing up and doing something I don't really want to do. Maybe me doing something that's going to make me uncomfortable. Maybe requiring me to make a greater time commitment to my business. And so instead, I'm just putting it on the back burner. I'm settling for, not having that thing done in my business. I'm prioritizing other things over that thing because they're easier and less uncomfortable. Like, what are those things? So I want you to make a list of every single one of those things, every single one of those areas that you're settling. And beginning tomorrow, you get up and you start checking those things off the list. You start showing up and doing those things, and you do those things first. So you at least do one of those things on your list first before you do anything else. Like, you just begin to tackle that list. If you did nothing else in this program, that will create radical transformation in your business. On the financial goal, because I saw a question come in, you keep it in your field of awareness. If you feel like you're falling out of alignment with your belief that you can have that goal, then you do some inner work to bring yourself back into alignment. But we don't fucking grip the steering wheel. We hold on to the baby bird as loosely as we can. We practice the art of detachment. We don't obsess over the number. We do surrender that over to God, source, universe, all that is. While holding it in our consciousness that there is no other option but us achieving that goal. So you've got two-part financial goal, the why, and that breakdown, and your list of where you're settling, where you're being complacent, instead of moving into a place of growth and expansion. You make the list. Tomorrow morning, you begin doing one thing, at least one. If you want to do more than one, great. But you begin doing at least one thing on the list, and you do it before you do anything else. So that's my drop for you today. I really want you guys to share one area where you're being complacent. I'd love you to share your financial goal if you're comfortable. If you're not, you don't have to share it. If you're comfortable, share your financial goal. I want you to share one area where you're being complacent, and I want you to make a commitment to when you will have done it, when you will have completed it. Some of the things are going to be easier, right? So you're going to be able to knock those off the list first. Something might be harder. It might actually take you several days to finish it. So I want you to give us one thing from your complacency list, and I want you to give us a deadline of when it's going to be done. Cool? That's it. That's all I have for you today. Mwah. Love you guys.
That's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to connect with me on social media and reach out. I love hearing from you. And if you want more of me, real, raw, and uncensored, make sure to join the Wealth Witch Telegram channel. It's my free channel where I share all of my random daily musings, as well as the information that I feel like is important and pertinent to my community. We've put a link to the Telegram channel in the show notes, so make sure to come join us over there if that intrigues you. Remember, wealth is a mindset, and you are the most powerful creator in your reality. Until next time, this is the Wealth Witch signing off.